Hello Capricorn, and welcome to your March 2022 general reading. This is a reading for the Capricorn collective, and so the messages today may not resonate with everyone watching. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by pulling two oracle cards to frame the reading, and then we will move on to tarot. So let us get started. And as I shuffle, I just want to say that even though this is a general reading for Capricorn, these readings sometimes tend to focus on one particular area. So they might focus on career or finances or platonic and or romantic relationships, etc. So we will see where yours goes, but it's just something to keep in mind that general readings often don't end up being so general. Okay, so Capricorn, let's see what is going on. So card number 1, Justice. By the power of 3 by 3, Mott, deliver justice to me. So Capricorn, there might be a situation in which you are seeking justice. And that might be justice in terms of like your personal dealings with someone, or maybe it is a legal matter that you are waiting to be resolved. So some type of justice is being sought or is on the horizon. That is card number 5 for those who are interested. And the next card for you is Imagination. Very interesting because I have not pulled this card before. So very poignant message here possibly. Imagination now sets me free. Divine ones, I send my thanks to thee. So imagination might have to do with creativity. It might have to do with finding solutions to a particular problem. It might have to do with fantasy and something that or someone who you're fantasizing about. It might also have to do with manifestation. Are you manifesting something, Capricorn? Could it be a person? Could it be wealth or prosperity or stable finances? So all of these things could potentially involve imagination. So we have imagination and justice, and maybe the two are related somehow. You are imagining what justice will look like or how justice will be served. Will it be served on a cold dish or not? We shall find out. But imagination is card number 41. Okay. So now Capricorn, we will move on to tarot and see what all of this means. Okay, Capricorn. The Star, quite lovely. 10 of Pentacles, very nice. 10 of Cups, beautiful card so far, Capricorn. And it's possible that I spoke too soon because now we have the Tower. The Magician. 5 of Wands. 5 of Pentacles. 2 of Pentacles. Okay, Capricorn. So a couple of things are pretty evident here, and a couple of things are interesting here, Capricorn. I can see here that there is disappointment, and you have potentially been let down. You were potentially involved with somebody. There is a person who you were involved with, and you had hope in them, and you had hope in the connection, and you had hope in this situation. You saw them as being both your 10 of Pentacles and your 10 of Cups. You thought that this was the real deal and that this was a connection that could blossom and go somewhere. They presented themselves to you in a very fine manner as someone who could theoretically give you the world, so to speak. Somebody who had their act together. But it appears that this person may have sold you a bill of goods that wasn't right. Because while we see that you had hope for this connection, and you were very optimistic, and you thought that this connection could deliver, ultimately what happened here is that it all went topsy-turvy, and this person ended up being almost the complete opposite of what they presented themselves to be. This individual was clearly not what or who they seemed to be. Now, the individual that we are talking to could very possibly be an Aquarius. However, they could also be a Scorpio or an Aries. And the reason that I say that is because this Tower card here is considered by many to be a card that is ruled by Mars. And if you are into Thoth at all, which is somewhat different from Rider-Waite, which is what we are reading here, Thoth connects the Tower with the energy of Mars. Mars is very powerful, very energetic, but can also be very violent and forceful. And that's what's going on in this card. Now, Mars rules both Aries and Scorpio. So this could indicate that the person who you are dealing with is an Aries or a Scorpio or possibly an Aquarius. And this person has been a disappointment to you. They were not what they seemed to be. Now, it's interesting that we have the Magician here because we just talked about imagination. So maybe this is somebody who you manifested. Or you were trying to manifest somebody positive, and this is the person who came into the picture. And you thought that this was a product of your manifestation, this individual. Again, on the surface, they presented themselves as the ideal. What stood out to me as I laid out the cards was that we have 2 10s in the center here, and we have 2 5s. So the energy and the power of this connection, or the attractiveness and appeal of this individual, got halved over time. It is currently half of what it used to be. You thought that they were going to be your 10 of Pentacles. Right here we have the couple with the child and the grandparent potentially and the dogs, and everything's great and they've built a foundation. However, what's followed was something combative. Or perhaps there were aspects of their personality that came out and didn't appeal to you as well. Or maybe they did you wrong in some way and didn't treat you in the way that you wanted, needed, and should have been treated. Capricorn, listen to me clearly. You are very rare, and I don't think they realized that at the time. And by rare, I also mean the fact that the Capricorn sign is the most rare amongst the zodiacs. Fewer people in the world allegedly have the sign of Capricorn than any other sign. So that makes you very unique and very rare. However, this individual here didn't notice that. Didn't notice that in real time. So you thought you were getting something steady and stable, and it ended up being something kind of combative and unstable. You thought that emotionally you were going to get fulfillment from this situation that you had imagined. You imagined the happily ever after. But thus far, that's not what it's panning out to be, because look, we have the 5. And emotionally, there's a certain coldness and a distance here, and you would like to connect with this person and have a warm connection, not something distant. And there were, in fact, 2 sides of them. the one that they presented to you initially, the one that drew you in. And then there was the real side of them, or the one that came out over a period of time, or the one that you soon came to realize. So there was some imagination there. There was some imagination, Capricorn, at play with you imagining that they were somebody else, or that they represented everything that you wanted. If you are still involved with this person, you're kind of like in this in-between situation. For some of you, a very small number of you, you might have been with somebody else and then went with this person because they drew you in, they appealed to you, and you thought that this was a better match for you, and you are now coming to realize that the grass was not greener on the other side. Again, not applicable to everyone, but for a small percentage of you, that's possibly what happened. You were in something, and then you move to this person thinking that it would be better, that the bond would be stronger, that there would be this emotional fulfillment, that there was a future here. And now you're seeing that the grass is not greener, that in fact it's not a better situation and it's not a better match for you. Let's pull some more cards. Clarify a little bit further, Capricorn. Knight of Cups. Knight of Swords. Interesting that we have two knights. Wheel of Fortune and the Hanged Man. Okay, let me move these up. So I cannot, again, help but see this pattern here. The 2 10 cards, the 2 5 cards, and then we have 2 knight cards. Okay. So there was definitely hope that this person would be able to bring honor and romance and love into this connection. What ended up happening instead, represented by this Knight of Swords, was they brought in confrontation, which is also indicated by the 5 of Wands. Confrontation, debate, bickering, an energy which was very unsettled. Not what you had hoped for, not what you were looking for. So hope is what the goal was. Love, innocence. But what you got was confrontation, battle, a connection which wasn't smooth, a connection which started to crack and erode. And again, some of you are still in the midst of this. What I do see, however, based on these 2 cards, Capricorn, is that the wheels are going to change. Now, this person might start to realize your value. They might start to weigh this connection and take it a little bit more seriously, and maybe take an accounting of how they've been behaving, what they haven't been doing to add to the connection and feed it. The question is that going to be too late? They will get a perspective. The Hangman is indicative of perspective. And I think, though, Capricorn, that you will get perspective as well. And that is where the justice comes in. Mott, deliver justice to me. They'll start to realize their ways and their wrongs. And they might come back to you. If you are in a separation, they might come back to you with the apologies and say they're going to do better, that they needed time to recognize exactly how much you meant to them and how valuable you were, etc. And they might tell you that for them, you are their 10 of Cups and their 10 of Pentacles. That might be true. And it might be a change in their perspective, especially if this is a connection where there's, a bit of time in between contact, maybe. But the bigger question when it comes to perspective is, what is your perspective? Again, for those of you who thought the grass was going to be greener on this side, what is changing your perspective? What are you going to do? So, because there is this sense of disappointment, that's how we started off. We started off from hope, we went to disappointment. We started off with hopes of love and romance and all the good stuff that comes with that, but we ended with a bit of combat and confrontation. So Capricorn, the question is, how are you going to handle this person when they do an about face? Because I think they will do an about face. How will you handle them? Maybe that's where you need to use your imagination, Capricorn. How do you imagine the different scenarios? What will be justice in this situation? If they have already left the picture, what would justice be for them when they come back with their apology? What would be appropriate? And for those who are still in the situation, what would be justice for the way that you have been treated? There's a lot of possibilities here for you, Capricorn, but the bottom line is that there is a disappointment here. There is a hope that hasn't come to fruition yet. All hope is not lost entirely because, again, we ended with the Hangman. However, there's disappointment in this connection. What are you going to do about it? How is this going to be resolved? What are the next steps? That is what I have for you today, Capricorn. Thank you so much. Until next time.